Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Sunless Skies. We're back in the Reach, where things are horrible, but in a sort of a more comprehensible way. The terrors of Albion are really of a different sort. I'm gonna be honest with you, not super eager to go back. Let's not even worry about it. We have lots of things to do here in familiar, terrifying circumstances. So we're headed down to Magdalene's. This is, we've been asked by... Oh, I'm having that thing again where my mouse wheel doesn't work for some reason. We've been asked by a number of people in the game to do things quickly. We have never really even tried before, but this time I actually want to land. I want to land this settler in a state where they're actually happy with us. So from Port Prosper, through Magdalene's, down to Somerset Camp, in a hurry. Hopefully we can find some bees to fight on the way to Somerset Camp, and there are bees all around the Traders Wood, it seemed like, so I'm hopeful that we can make that happen. They wanted a stinger, and then somebody else wanted 3 chorister bee souls, right? We got lots of reasons to fight bees, basically. I hear combat occurring, and I do not think we're going to get involved because we are in a hurry. There's a place we need to be. But we do want to kill a bunch of juggernauts yet. Fortunately, I'm pretty confident with our ability to do so, especially if we can find them just sort of like out by themselves. Probably should have gone around through the fallows so that I wouldn't have to deal with the horror. You know, it's not too late to turn. It would be better for us to go this way. So a patch occurred yesterday after we finished recording. It's got some changes in it. It's got some pretty major stuff that we're not going to talk about right now because it's not directly relevant. But one thing that is directly relevant is that terror will now, it seems like, accumulate faster and be a little bit harder to get rid of, which means that managing our terror effectively at places like Magdalene's or New Avon is going to be more important. And when we're out in the Reach, things are just going to keep getting worse forever, it seems like. Okay, we could here at this homestead... this is driving me crazy. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can, if I click outside the window and Nope. I don't know why sometimes my mouse wheel doesn't work in this game. Oh well, whatever. It's not a big deal. We could trade a Sky Story, which we have as effectively an infinite number of, for supplies, because we acquire them way faster than we spend them. But I really think it might be wise to reduce our terror. We're headed to some places before we go back to New Winchester to calm down. So maybe let's just eat our fill. Did I remember... I don't know if I remembered to write a port report back at Port Prosper. Did I? I don't think I did. Oh no, I did. Okay, good. Sometimes past SB can be a real asshole, but I like it. I like days like today when he holds up his end of the bargain. What do you think? Okay, in my defense, he slowed down a lot. He is now aware of us. Right, let's grab this and then grab that and then get back on track here. Okay, cool. So we don't actually know how fast you have to go to make one of these settlers happy. Check that out. Take advantage of the drift. We could use an uncanny specimen. We also could just lose terror. Down at 28. Let's just drop terror. Let's violently disperse the rubble. You know, for most fights, 5 terror would be pretty bad payment, but it's not so bad when we spent like absolutely nothing getting the kill. Oh god. That horrible whining sound you heard was the engine trying to fire the sideways jets while overheated. Definitely not supposed to do that. The captain's cabin probably just has gossip in it, but we might actually need some gossip. We've spent a lot of ours. Yep, 2 more gossip. Okay. You know, we're here near New Avon. We have actual use for the gossip, so it doesn't hurt us to pick up a little. Also, that would have been like 20 sovereigns. Speaking of sovereigns, one thing I think we probably ought to do is have a look at that very expensive locomotive that's available in New Winchester. It costs 19,500 sovereigns, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly. And once upon a time, that seemed like an impossible number. But now I can totally see how we would get there. Was that movement we saw? Yeah, probably. I think we're just gonna mourn the dead. I know we can dump terror. Ow. We can dump terror at Magdalen's pretty easily. This really sucks, actually. Okay. I fired the weapons while we were overheated there because I thought the little bit of damage that we take from doing so would probably be less than the amount of damage I would take if I didn't fire them and just let that guy shoot us at close range a bunch of times. But not very happy about that outcome. There we go. Like I was saying, 19,500 seems totally doable now. I mean, we wouldn't get there soon, but I can see how we would get there. So maybe we don't buy the 6,000 Sovereign engine, because we don't get any trade-in value or anything, as far as I'm aware. The Rat Brigade consider Magdalen's for a while. Finally, it's very red. This is why we keep them around. It's sharp, incisive commentary. But yeah, if we buy the 6,000 and then buy the 19,000 later, we just have to pay full price for both of them, I believe, which obviously is not ideal. Let us, first of all, visit the Keepsake Market. We could purchase an unlicensed chart, but we don't really need to. We could hang out with the other captains and drop terror. We could recruit crew from the market. We have twice as many crew as we actually need to have, and I'm not planning to run any expeditions at the Traders Wood anyway due to our supply and fuel situation. So I think we'll just take the free terror reduction. Or, well, almost free. Okay. So, things we have to do here. Right, no mouse wheel. Who wanted to come back to Magdalen's? The rats. One of the people for the rat storyline is at Magdalen's, but I thought we had a second thing. Did we not have a second thing here? I'm very forgetful. I'm so forgetful that I forgot what the end of that sentence was while I was speaking it. I could have sworn... Yes, here we go. Ask for clay attendance at Magdalen's. Well, let's do that then. Neither of you are seeking treatment as such, but perhaps something could be arranged. An attendant is on hand to hear your request. She frowns slightly, but the clay conductor sighs elaborately as she begins her explanation as to why this isn't impossible. Look, she says. I can see your friend is looking to make a scene. The clay conductor looks deeply offended. Follow me. You'll need to pay, though, same as anybody else. She motions for you to follow her through a pair of doors of crimson glass and into the inner chambers of Magdalen's. Alright, all treatments will lower your terror equally. Well, we don't really need that, but our buddy does have some concerns. The clay conductor wishes to know if they will perform the music of the clay choirs. I'm actually very curious about the music of the clay choirs myself. The attendant cannot hide a small frown. Ah, we've not been asked for that in a while. Let me just go and talk to the lads. You are invited to take a seat. The clay conductor is already expecting disappointment. Sometime later, the attendant returns with 3 weathered claymen. Their skin is cracked and craggy. Their eyes are rheumy, clouded as pearl. They launch into song, eerie and low, redolent of drudgery and despair. The clay conductor leaves before they finish. They were clearly attendants in disguise, he tells you scornfully. Even the singing, a thin facsimile, like everything here. Okay, well, hey, they tried, though. Alright, I guess as that didn't quite work out. Alright, what about the rats? Maybe Vianne is here. We want Vianne, right? The other one is both crazy and obsessed with explosions. Not really someone I want on my locomotive, which is fundamentally an explosive device. We should definitely write a port report before I forget. Make sure that present SB keeps up with the competence of past SB. Vianne is stationed in the Scarlet Chambers of Solace. She sighs when she sees the Rat Brigade. I know what you are here for. Vianne indicates that she wishes to speak with her old colleagues in private. They form a huddle, but their vigorous squeaking allows you to gather the gist. Vianne wants a promise that none of the proceeds would be used to finance the recruitment of more rats to the brigade. Cinders agrees to the terms instantly. Vianne pops her head up to address you. I'll show you where to deliver the experiment, and then we can get on. Alright, we have another member of the brigade. She's taken our experiment. Well, we're doing it. We're pushing these storylines forward. I gotta be honest with you, I'm surprised by how long they are. They're selling seeds. I don't think I want to take seeds on board. Sometimes they do weird things. Let's just fill our hold with these. At some point, we need to come here, buy 3 undistinguished souls, and then truck those up to Port Prosper, but that's not a right now kind of problem. Alright, let's just keep moving. We're going fast today. As fast, as fast as physics will allow. So it really is just like straight south. I mean, as straight south as the wind will allow. It is becoming a little bit of a problem, isn't it? We don't have to... If this guy doesn't notice us, I'll just keep flying. Okay, he noticed us. Still, I think I'm just going to keep flying for the moment until we're clear of the wind. Oh, this is not ideal. He's pointed right at our backside. Well, I suppose let's signal the wreck. Perhaps there's someone still alive. Would be the decent thing to do to take them aboard, I guess. Because there's no other benefit that we can gain here. Your signaler fetches their signal lamp and flashes a patient message into each portside window. I mean, we've seen this text a bunch of times. Sounds like bees. Doesn't it sound like bees? It shouldn't be too much of a problem for us to fight, like, a group of bees or two. We get into a situation like we got into when we almost died, where we're being pursued by half a dozen of them. That could be quite a different story. What is this up ahead? That would have been a really good hit. Good way to open a fight. Alright. Haha! Very, very narrow escape there. See, I'm still good at fighting these guys. Yes, let us explore the captain's cabin. Again, tiny, tiny number of sovereigns. Probably not actually better than the gossip, even though the gossip is also fairly limited in value. It is kind of weird that, like, everybody needs parts, right, to keep their trains running. And you have to pay for repairs at the port. So it's a little strange that you don't have the ability to salvage parts of their locomotive to sell to engineers and other captains and stuff. You know, like if your locomotive is in good shape, you can just get some sovereigns that way. Okay. Well, I'm shooting, like, very poorly today. But it turns out our weapons are powerful enough and our enemies incompetent enough that it doesn't matter that much. So now we have to wonder, is it worth going off course a little bit in an attempt to find bees? Will they be happier if we drop them off quickly, but without a hunt? Or slowly, but with a hunt? I'm just gonna deliver here, I think. We have lots of reasons to hunt bees, but who knows how long it would take to find some. Alright, the distinguished retailers Ravenscourt and Stamford operate a small logging outpost. Let's just swing by. We could repair the hull. Can't get a mouse over. There we go. Okay, so we're only down 4 points. 25 sovereigns is actually a pretty bad price for that. Let's see if we can take on some crew, I guess. I'm not actually sure if having more crew does increase the rate at which you go through supplies. It's possible that getting more crew is actually a bad idea, but it does give us some insurance against things going wrong, although we actually already have a lot of insurance against things going wrong. Yeah, never mind. I'm okay on crew. Alright, we need to go to... The Parting Glade is where we write reports here? I mean, also, apparently, where we drop off the settler. Hey look, I did it, and actually kind of quickly. They have arrived at their destination. Whether or not they still wish to be here is another matter entirely. Too bad. Get off my train. She gives you a smile as weak as the tea she's been brewing aboard your engine before making a quick departure. A small purse is all she's left behind in her cabin. Okay, 100 sovereigns. An icy blast comes from the north. Budding bluebells droop. Is 100 sovereigns even a good price? I don't remember what we got when we dropped off the upset settler that we took forever to deliver last time. We get to do this, which is just awesome. The classicists are delighted, but you can't please the theologians. Too true. Too fanciful, apparently. The medievalists cannot seem to come to a definitive conclusion. You're paid well all the same, and invited to go stargazing in the Palewood. Alright, and we got ourselves a vision of the heavens, and then they're willing to sell the literature right back to us. Do I want to take it? See, we need literature for the Avid Horizon. That would be a situation where we could actually just put it in the hold. I don't think we need literature too badly around... Or, not in the hold, in the bank. We don't need literature too badly here, but I'm wondering if maybe we should just leave the hold empty and try to swing past Titania on the way back to New Winchester for the purpose of filling the hold with chorister honey instead. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. So I don't think we really want to do very much here. We haven't got the fuel or the supplies to try to mount expeditions. What are they selling? They sell supplies but no fuel. I'll take one crate. Alright. So, the plan, then... We don't actually know whether we can get through here, right? Would I rather go through the Palewood? Because there's definitely a lot of bees, kind of all over the Trader's Wood. Maybe the Deepwood is too ambitious, too likely to go horribly, horribly awry, you know. Then again, there is the Wonder down there. We could at least chill out by that. I guess we don't really have any terror right now. Yeah. Yeah, alright, let's take the Palewood path. It's not like we need to find a bunch of choristers out in the wild. There'll be some around Titania. I don't want to get myself in too deep. We can fight some bees. I don't know how many bees it will take to actually kill us, but I do know that there's an awful lot of them down there in the Deepwood. Said chorister honey is like pretty expensive. We could save an awful lot of money, or rather make an awful lot of additional money, if we manage to harvest it all ourselves rather than getting it from like buying it from Titania. Does Titania sell honey? It must. Oh, we can finally tell them how to build their buildings, although maybe we should wait on that. Because if I remember correctly, you can tell them to build their buildings in an Albion style if you've been to Albion, or I think maybe in an Eleutherian style if you've been there. And I'm wondering if the reward for doing the latter might be better, since it's a harder thing to do. I guess we don't actually even know if that's true. Maybe it's really easy to get to Eleutheria, and the thing is I haven't actually tried. You know what, let's just swing through New Avon on the way back. I'm trying to think, like, what's our route home going to be like? I don't think we're going to pass Port Avon again. So let's hit Port Avon now to get the port report. When we go back to New Winchester, we'll make quite a lot of money. I don't think we want to go to the nature reserve before we hit New Winchester, because I'm worried that the incautious driver will be upset with us for not going back to the funeral, since we know that the nature reserve is where the incautious driver's plot seems to end. This is not something you can fly over. It looks like it's a plane lower than that, but it definitely is still occluding our light. Been a little while since we were here. I sort of forgot how everything works, apparently. Doesn't take long. Alright, good news. We brought gossip. Let's stop in here and, we don't need the cheap repairs. I would rather have the cheap fuel. Never have enough fuel. Okay, so while we're here, we want to write a report. And then we want to go to the Nowhere Inn and do a little bit of light reading. Bones in the Well, right? Yep, so we definitely want to get up to at least... Oh, we're unwelcome. Yep, we can fix that. Definitely want to get to at least 15 Tales of Terror. Everybody loves a good story. I think that's our character's primary takeaway from our adventures out here in the sky. So do we want to stop at 15? Hold on, what happened with the hunting club? I actually don't remember. I'm sure I've written about it in my journal. Can't get rid of the... Man, I don't know what's going on with this thing right now. First in line from... Oh, that's right, that's right. We're first in line for membership, but somebody has to... Like, they have limited numbers. Well, maybe somebody will die. You know? If there's anything I know about life in the Reach, it's that sometimes people die. So we definitely don't need another Sky story. Let's pick up a couple more Tales of Terror in case we encounter other things we might like to trade them for. We'll go to 17, and this leaves me, I believe, 1 point of Port Royal or Port Avon welcome in case we need to come back. They have barrels of hours available, but I don't really like carrying hours around very much. Seems to be some negative consequences for doing so. Yeah, what the hell? Nope, too much. Okay, there we go. A little bit of overcorrection followed by a little bit more overcorrection, but it all works out in the end. So let's head down here. We'll fight some bees maybe. See what's available to us. And I'm being told that there is perhaps something grave here. Oh. One of these things that you gotta, like, look at from a distance. Not one of the things that you can climb aboard and personally loot with your own hands, which is really sort of my speed. Speaking of looting stuff... You know what? Because of the troubles we've had with hours on the ship, I'm going to leave that there. It might still be there when we get back. Seems like sometimes things despawn and sometimes they don't. Got him. I had to say, this mangonel is a lovely weapon. Alright, we could listen to its final complaint, we could can it. Or we could just gain some sovereigns. I mean, supplies, right? Supplies are the most valuable thing we're going to get out of this. I'm sure that the number of sovereigns we got would not have been anywhere near the cost of a box of supplies. And we have the hold space, may as well. So what is this, Oh, this is the box, right. So probably a lot of the things that are being left on the map after we move away from them are things like that. So that rock might be gone by the time we get back. And if it is, oh well. Hours are remarkably low in value anyway. Why are the engineers always singing this song? That's one thing I don't miss about the Reach when we're in Albion. I don't think they sing that while we're in Albion. Okay, so around here, yep, there we go. Don't remember why we needed Chorister Bee souls, but I do know how to get them. Ah, fired a little bit too early, just a touch. Wow, that's a lot of bees, though. Okay, well the good news is those ones seem to be damaging each other. Why are there so many bees? Ah. My weapons do not have infinite range. See, part of it is that my screen is a rectangle, not a square. And so I'm like, oh, I can hit stuff that's at the edge of the screen, but I can hit stuff that's at the top and bottom edges of the screen. The side edges are further away. Okay, one dead. Oh boy. I've perhaps overdone it. Angered the entire hive. They do crash into each other. Like, it seems like you get them agitated and they just kind of go nuts on whatever's nearby. Direct hit. That one's gonna narrowly miss. Oh boy. Okay, we took a little brush there. Actually, that was quite a lot of damage. Princess, this is not the time. Can't you see we are very busy doing train stuff? I'm gonna grab this if I can. Okay, so we can send someone out to recover the nectar. Ah, it was the princess who wanted all the bee souls. Princess encourages you not to waste any part of the bee, especially the parts she needs. Fine. Collecting the soul of a chorister bee swarm is traditionally an onerous endeavor, made a little easier by the distraction the incognito princess provides. She stands by her porthole, nose nuzzling against the glass while the spectral remains of the swarm jostle to get closer to her. "Oh, you little people already love me," she whispers, thrilled. While the princess is bonding, you have a more arduous task, slowly unwinding a soul from the bee's not-quite corpse while avoiding the last futile twitches of its sting. Alright, two more. Okay, those guys took enough damage that one shot did it. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on! Okay. Starting to do pretty well here. That's a bad miss. Did they just take damage from bumping into that rock? I think they did. Alright, one more. Oh god. It's another one of those situations where I think the overheat damage was probably worthwhile. Alright, one more soul. And then I guess we're just collecting nectar. Alright, she wishes you to head to Carillon. Well, we have lots and lots of reasons to head to Carillon. So the our mirror skill does not guarantee us nectar here. Ah, as I was saying. A crewman is elbow deep in bee when the beast gives a final spasm and plunges its stinger into his wrist. His death is quick and loud. The other nectar harvesters return hastily to your engine. The few thimblefuls they've managed to gather will fetch you a few sovereigns in port. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Clearly, you chose the right woman for the job. Judging from her equipment, she's done this before. A set of pliers, a serrated knife, a steel straw, and a bladder. She returns after an hour, her sky suit stained with bee, and a full gourd's worth of nectar in the bladder. Alright, more nectar. Turns out we need, like, a lot of it. Okay, well, we may as well spend some right away, right? No sense in waiting. A secondment. Listen to the devil's suggestion. Okay, you hold on a second. Let us ask him about his possible enemies. Finally, we can talk about the guy he murdered on my train all the way back when we picked him up. I have had 3 particular friends, he says. 2 of them I think are dead, and as for the third, it would not be her style to look for me. But if I were to trace this matter, it would take me to Carillon, and to London, and to the Well of the Wolf. He catches the corner of your glance. You asked about my enemies, I know, he says. But when you get to my age, it's the same thing. Okay, well we have lots and lots and lots of reasons to go to Carillon. Good thing we're so well liked there. Liked is strong. Good thing they sort of respect me there, kind of. Let's see if there's any honeycombs around here. We might be able to pick up a little bit more before we leave. We're down 28 hull. If we were still in the old locomotive, this would be a terrifying amount of health. Okay, well, it looks like we've maybe gotten all of the value we're going to get over here. Still, it was pretty good. I don't know exactly how much honey we need for the rebellion on the Brabazon Work World. I probably did actually see the prompt. It doesn't say in the journal, I don't believe. Nope, that's the wrong direction. Fired the wrong jet there. Okay. The port unfurls itself, welcoming you ashore, and giving you a port report. So we didn't actually need to be in Titania, we just needed honey. So yeah, we could talk to the people about the style of architecture. I say let's wait until we visited Eleutheria. I wonder if the reward for doing it this way might be better. And also, our character's not super wild about Albion and the Crown and everything. I don't know that I would want more places in the world to look like that. So we can donate here. I'm going to add this to the list. Hold on a second. Let's just get that notepad file I created. Okay, at Titania, we can trade in Sky Stories, which is great because we have so many of them. Unfortunately, they're never very valuable, are they? Still, 5 for 85 sovereigns. We have, what, 34, I think? We could afford to donate 30 of these, and I think still be totally fine. And I don't really know that there's any reason for us not to do that. Here, we'll donate 25. We'll hold on to quite a few. This is not going to get us anywhere near leveling up, right? Yeah, our level ups are pretty expensive now. I guess I should read. We haven't actually seen this text yet. Your travels have brought you to the farthest wilds of the heavens. You've seen things others couldn't imagine. The melancholy poet fills a whole journal and sends out for a fresh bottle of ink. When you are finished, the poet needs a moment to think. This will need to go to someone of singular talent. Your payment is brought in. Hey, you know who is a person, a writer, in fact, of singular talent? I still have 14. Let's do it one more time. Okay, we made some decent money there. I don't think we want to... I have a bunch of visions of the heavens, and we don't really know what to do with them. We're definitely not donating our moment of inspiration. We've never even seen a captivating treasure, have we? Where am I at money-wise now? 37? I'll hold on to our visions of the heavens for now, but I am, of course, making a note in thing 70. I'm not even going to bother noting about moments of inspiration. There's no way. They're so hard to come by. We could attend an art exhibition, I suppose. I cannot encourage a visitor to invest in Titania, and it doesn't give me any idea why not, which is unusual for this game. Okay, somehow, amateur art makes our terror fall. Could buy ourselves some crates of munitions. We could just buy some more tourister nectar. Let me double check and make sure that I'm right about this. It does not say in this thing how much honey we need, right? It says gourds. We know it's more than one. You know what? I'll buy 2. And we'll just store them in the bank. We don't need to carry them around anymore because I'm no longer trying to get that the devil story moved forward at first light. So, yeah, none of this other stuff involves honey. Okay. Now, back to New Winchester. Like I said, that honey's not cheap. I was really hoping to get most of it by hunting, but I don't really want to go all the way out of the way for it. And the port report money when we hit New Winchester will cover the expenditures we just made. Something to crave. Maybe there is another thing of honey up here. I mean, I believe we can sell it in London for that same 120, so if it turns out that we end up with more than we needed, we can just recoup our losses entirely. Although I suppose, you know, we're losing some extra fuel from having carried it. More bees. I'm still creeped out by the buzzing sound. They've done a really good job of making the buzzing sound, but I have to say there is definitely a catharsis in getting to blow them up. Okay, well it turns out maybe we're going to end up with a huge amount of honey. Boy, they don't really want to give up, do they? You hit them with a big explosive weapon and they just keep coming on. Uh-oh, partial success. Okay, they were bad bees. We did a good job, but the bees were bad. Just snatch that, and I guess we can move on. I mean, there's one more. We know there's one more bee swarm here. I guess we may as well get them. They're not very tough. Oh, what is that? I wonder if the bees are attacking whatever that is. Unfortunately, it's exactly as fast as I am, so I can only catch up if it decides to slow down. Oh, you're kidding. Ow. Oh, I actually probably would have been fine if I hadn't started going there. Alright, well, let's maybe repair our hull a little bit. You do fight an awful lot more in the Reach than you do in Albion, I'll say that. The enemies are individually pretty weak, but there's a sort of a slow grind of attrition on the hull. Really wear yourself down. Alright, let's see what these nice people have to say. Well, they would love it if we would tell them a story. And we are probably going to see all of our terror removed, since we have so little, when we hit New Winchester. So, yeah. I'll trade gossip for supplies, sure. Yeah, the Reach feels, after spending some time in Albion, the Reach feels much more dangerous, but also just like it massively bounteous, right? Like, you are never very far from more supplies or more fuel here. I think the bees are slamming against that hive and injuring themselves. You know, I'd be taking no damage from these things at all if I could just actually hit my shots. Like, my shot selection seems to be fine. Alright. They sing of a well and the unpleasant fate of the one who gave them voices. Yeah, I hear a lot of stuff about wells out here. And I've never been near one, and happy that we saw it. It is kind of neat how they've given the areas like real mechanical identity, though. Albion feels very like... Even just the act of flying around in Albion feels very sort of like staid. It's not terribly dangerous, but it's a place where it would be easy to starve. Whereas out here it feels, I mean, I hesitate to say this, and I don't mean it as dismissively as it's going to sound, but out here it feels a little bit more video gamey, you know? There's constant conflict, but also constant reward if you can survive the conflict. Oh yes, and also Tackities, friendly people who sometimes just ram into you. You know, out of friendliness. It's just a desire for hugs is what it is. So there's no particular reason that we need to drop off our port reports before doing Winchester. We can do them in the other order. Alright, we have not been back here in a long time. Yep, and we did in fact lose all of our terror. Just absolutely wonderful. So, our ambition was 2 unlicensed charts, 2 moments of inspiration. We're very close to being able to put this forward. Okay, we are more than halfway to our remaining moment of inspiration. So, we have a funeral to attend. Also, apparently, the psalmists are causing trouble again. The mid-morning calm is shattered by furious yelling in the distance. Well, I guess let's see what that is. Chaplet Street is lined with gleaming churches dedicated to every conceivable deity, sect, or heresy. And there is a corner of Chaplet Street, nestled between a crematorium and a tobacco shop, where the city's least popular temples have been segregated. On this grubby and profane little corner, a group of yellow-collared vicars are trying to make themselves heard above the furious yelling of a gaunt priest. The psalmists seem to be getting into an unholy row with the new sequencers. Actually, I don't. Is that row or row when it's used this way? It's another one of those things I've read a bunch and never heard anybody say. As you approach, the psalmists pour from their ramshackle church and charge. Well, we could just wade in and punch all of the holy men. We could attempt to mediate the dispute, not really a particular strength of ours. Or we could just kind of sit back and watch what happens. So, our character's not a fighter by nature, but we've hung around with some rough men. We know a thing or two about how to throw a punch. This really doesn't seem like a fight that we have a dog in, though, yeah? I think let's just sit back and see what happens. These are probably the 2 most despised cults in New Winchester. It doesn't matter who wins, but it promises to entertain. A scrabbling, vicious, faintly embarrassing street fight ensues. The constables arrive and break it up before long. This again? One of the constables pinches the bridge of her nose. She pulls a slip of paper from her pocket and hands it to the psalmist's head priest. We're shutting your church down, effective immediately. You've been nothing but trouble since you arrived. The priest stares at the paper. He sits heavily on his church's doorstep. You have been asked to ferry the 13th psalmist to the White Well in the Blue Kingdom. I don't think that's correct. We have not, in fact, been asked that. The psalmist priest throws himself at your feet. I kneel before you twice scorned, he says. Once by my former congregation, and now again by the prejudiced machinations of this city. Please, take us aboard your train. He pulls a tattered map from his equally tattered robes. Here, the White Well in the Blue Kingdom, where the dead go. We will build anew there. We will spread our word even beyond the veil. Sorry, I'm not clear. Are they offering to pay? Because, listen, I ferry people places for payment. That's just what I do. They might pay. It's possible they'll pay. The twice-scorned priest's haggard face lights up for a moment. For this you will escape condemnation. The psalmists of the cursing church are so overjoyed that a few of them attempt to smile. It's a terrible thing to behold. They settle back into their habitual frowns as they gather their meager belongings and file onto the train. That's sort of a video gamey thing. Like, I did that because there's no downside. You know, you take quests and that's just opportunity with no possible negative. But thinking about it, I'm not sure that that's a thing our character would have done. It's like, who are these people and how come they're not paying, right? Oh well. The Stainrod Mansion is draped in mourning black. The lady of the house stiffly greets her guests, nodding at every whispered word of condolence. Wait, is the incautious driver of the Stainrod family? The incautious driver's mother greets you both at the gate, her tone chillier than lustrum frost. The prodigal returns, then, somewhat late. I suppose better late than never. Your father would have been pleased to see the effort. Well, you'd better come in. Funeral party gathers on the main lawn behind the house, sipping wine and eating delicate sandwiches without crusts. The incautious driver has slipped away into the house, up to an old playroom, and we're just gonna sneak in there as well, and hopefully not get yelled at by any house staff. Find the driver in a dusty old playroom. A portrait hangs on the wall, showing a young boy and his younger sibling. My older brother and I, the driver confides. We aren't close. He was outdoorsy, while I spent most of my time in here. I almost died of sky sickness as a baby. It took a long time to recover, and I was very frail. Mother and father thought it best I stay indoors. I don't mind. The world outside sounded terrible, full of monsters and diseases and accidents. I was happier with my toy trains and my window garden and my books. That sounds somewhat familiar. Well, a bell rings. It is time for the ceremony. Suppose we ought to step out there. The ceremony is solemn. Members of the family take turns to lay flowers on the coffin and say a few words. The driver places a flower, but says nothing. You find them later, in the shadow of a rose bush brought all the way from old London. It was Father who said I should leave, you know. Their voice is quiet. I had to work, after all, and he knew I liked botany. He arranged a position for me at the nature reserve, and booked passage on a reputable engine. First time I'd left New Winchester. Okay, how do we comfort our friend here who we really don't know all that much about, I'm realizing. The awkwardness of the moment should not keep you from offering comfort. The driver seems to me to be a person who's very into the well-being of plants. I think that's a thing that we know, or at least a thing that has been suggested, and I don't think we should pick a rose in front of them. Let's just, a little bit of physical comfort. We're trying to say, hey buddy, you're not alone. We crashed within sight of our destination. When I stumbled into port, I wasn't afraid of anything anymore. I thought I'd found my courage in the wilds, but it was the verdant, wasn't it? Colonized me and took away my fear. The driver looks at the house, to the dark window of the playroom. When it's done with me, which version of myself will remain? They frown. Can we go now? Yo, that's pretty wild, actually. Like, the idea of a thing taking you over and sort of rewriting your personality, and then you get used to the new idea of you. Like, that's now who you are to you. And then realizing that it might go away. And if you go back, is the old you... I mean, is that you? Because you were sort of never the other thing, but now you're used to it. That's a real problem. Well, I guess we'd better see the plot through to its end, but first, we have a passenger to drop off. The gardens are planted with somber species imported from old Earth and grown under the golden light of the clockwork sun. The veins of the leaves are delicate as cut glass, which is a description that I would once have thought of as merely florid, and now I wonder... Clockwork sun is a terrible thing. We have to destroy it, right? I'm going to destroy it. The sun is like the bees, but bigger. It is a thing that I'm afraid of in the real world that I can take some joy here in blowing up. The philanthropist has alerted the local conductor to your arrival. He meets you beside a gray statue of a serene mermaid. His voice is plummy and moneyed. My hansom will take us from here. Thank you, friend. Okay, well, 250 experience and 1 work worlder saved. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to save them all. Many of them as I can before I die of old age, anyway. Alright, let's go ahead and repair our hull. And then we have some stuff to drop off here. So I think I'm going to stash 3 gourds of nectar. Why do I have all this tea? What was I planning? I remember that I wanted to do something with this tea, but I don't remember what. Do we need the tea? It may be the case that the tea was valuable for the purpose of giving to people on the work world. Maybe. This is more stuff that I'm going to have to make notes about. Basically, what I'm wondering is, do we want to bank it or do we want to sell it? Let's see. Ooh, completing this prospect will award you an unlicensed chart. That's a valuable thing. Up to 9 crates of munitions at Lustrum. That's very interesting. Where was it that they were selling munitions? Maybe we could put 9 crates together? I mean, I'm going to take the prospect. And then the other one is 5 crates of munitions for Lustrum. Okay. Okay, let's dump the gemstones one, because we don't even know where to get gemstones. And we'll just find a way to take 14 crates of... What a weird thing. Okay, we'll find 14 crates of munitions. I can do that. Let's go to the Victoria Market and sell... I'm going to sell 4 of these gourds of honey. And do I still need all this tea? You know, it's not that hard to come by tea in Albion. If we need more, we'll find more. Doing pretty well. Let's swing by the engine yard real quick and have a look at that big expensive train. So it does have a lot more crew space. It does have more hold space, and it is cheaper. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there is some trade-in value for your locomotive. In fact, this is 3,500 cheaper than it used to be, and we're driving a train that costs 3,500. Maybe you do in fact get full trade-in value. Well, if that's the case, there's absolutely no reason not to upgrade to the 6,000 sovereign locomotive in the interim. This is quite an upgrade. Yeah, I want this very badly. Also, it's extremely gaudy, not really my taste. Maybe we can cover up some of the gold. This is like driving around in a big sparkling treasure chest. It could not make any clearer to the bad people of the world that we have stuff worth taking. Alright, we're definitely going to do this. Then I think our business in London is completed. We don't have anything else to do, right? We could hire on more crew, but I don't think we need to. We don't really want to buy any more stuff for the train. We could buy more supplies and fuel, but we don't have to. Okay. I feel like we've seen munitions a bunch of times. They sell nectar, they sell seeds, right? No big surprise there. They also sell nectar. How do I get rid of this? There we go. Hours, of course. Bronzewood. Maybe it's just that munitions are available as things from both loot from fighting and also just from bazaar, like random goods available from the bazaars and the ports a lot. Well, we certainly have a lot to do with them now, if we can, you know, find a whole bunch. 135 sovereigns each is a pretty good price. Okay, 500 more sovereigns, and we don't have anything of value to get from our favor now, right? I guess we can pick up otherworldly artifacts and then deliver the otherworldly artifacts to Airy House. I had to look over at my notes, but this is exactly why we've taken them. Yeah, let's maybe trade in all of our favor for artifacts. Unfortunately, we can't really do this in bulk. Yeah, like we could affect the balance of power in the Reach, but the balance of power in the Reach is resolved. We don't need Savage Secrets all that badly. Here, we'll get a bunch. We'll hold off a little bit just in case we do suddenly at some point need a bunch of Savage Secrets, the way we have, for example, suddenly needed 15 Tales of Terror. We'll leave ourselves with like 11 favor. It's not that hard to come by more, or gratitude rather. It's not that hard to come by more. Yeah, I'll leave it like this for now. Okay, let's head down to Leadbeater and Stainrods and see if we, see exactly what happens to our incautious driver when the Verdant leaves, if it does leave. I guess, is there a reason to believe that it will? Did we make a deal? Did it promise to leave at some point? I can't remember. Because if not, I wouldn't expect it to. It's a fungus, right? What it wants to do is colonize as much and as distantly as possible. It is a little bit of a shame that we've done such a good job driving the interest of the Crown back. I think the only place we're going to encounter dreadnoughts now is around Port Prosper. So we'll probably have to go out there on hunting expeditions a couple of times. It seems like every time we've been over there, there's been like 2 dreadnoughts, and we still need 5 nameplates. But that is definitely something we will do before leaving the Reach for Albion again. You know, I wonder... We've seen all those great floating trunks of bronzewood out in the sky. I wonder if it's our mining rig that would allow us to harvest from those. Have we had the opportunity to try that yet? I feel like maybe we haven't seen any of those since we got the mining drill. Now what is this? Okay. Just a tackety, no big deal. That is not at all where I am going. I will say I do miss the way that in Albion you can kind of just point your locomotive in the direction you need to go and then fly straight. I did not miss all of this nonsense. Well, I mean, we're gonna grab the honey, obviously. I am no longer quite as afraid of these bees. Oh, this wind really freaks the crew out. Everything's fine, you bunch of big babies. It's taken us away from the bees. How could you not be happy about that? Alright. An opportunistic ranger smiles a mostly toothless grin. Yeah, alright, a hunting party is forming. Let's just explore the nature reserve on our own, quietly for a while. Along with a few of your braver crew members, you set out into the depths of the nature reserve for a bracing walk and a quiet picnic. The fauna around here is shy when not being hunted. It doesn't even try to steal your scones. Well, that's just foolish. These are very good scones. Alright, we get a port report, and then... Where are we going to advance the story here? Well, I suppose this might be a good moment to ask the researcher about his completed research, which he's definitely had time to finish now. Phlegmatic Researcher welcomes you to his table with a booming, "Sit down, sit down!" He calls for one of his scouts to pour you a brandy. "Thanks to the hard labor of my fine colleagues, we've done it." Well, let us witness the culmination of their efforts, then. It's just outside the window. Phlegmatic Researcher points with his walking stick and raises his eyebrows theatrically. Seems to do pretty much everything theatrically. An orchard is growing outside. The trees all bear, well, one cannot say fruit, for they bear potatoes or carrots, while others have ears of corn hanging like pine cones. The Phlegmatic Researcher raises his glass. "I call them sapling knots. With careful discipline, it's possible to harness the Reach's chaos and abundance. After that, one may dictate growth. Wood may be negotiated with." Okay, I mean, that seems useful. He wants more stuff. Okay, he would like the stomach of a cantankeree, a cutting of the Titanian petal, and a fungal crinoline. Well, I imagine Hybris, Titania, and we see these guys all over the place. Okay, I can probably do that. Fungal meteoroids have been observed with Leadbeater and Stainron telescopes. Oh, so we just have to find one of those. Okay, I can do that. That was not that was not useful text. Okay. Let's head out to Albert's Idol, I guess. Into the reserve proper. Let us escort the incautious driver to the Verdant. The fragment should end the driver's obsession. Yeah, we'll see. Well, that was a lot of XP. With difficulty, you help the driver drag the remnants of the fragment to the great tree in the middle of the reserve. Once again, its buds open up, showering spores to absorb its memories into itself. You are close enough to taste some of them yourself this time, an acrid, sour taste in the back of your throat. From it, an image forms in your mind. A squirming black cancer writhing in the heart of a god. A sudden darkness, light extinguished by betrayal. A single burning thought. Murderer. The image fades, the edges withering from memory. The driver steps away, breathing out the last of their infestation. Their eyes no longer glint emerald, but the damper green of moss. They stand differently now, not trembling with the effort of keeping still. Your incautious driver is now judicious, and will increase your iron by 10 and your affiliation establishment by 2. Wow, iron by 10, huh? Also, a level up. So, he used to be 6 iron 2 something else, right? And he has an extra point of affiliation, although, or they have an extra point of affiliation, but I don't know that we want a lot of affiliation establishment, actually. Here, let's go ahead and, first of all, see what's available at the shop. Literature, huh? Don't think we need a whole bunch of literature right now. We kind of did the things we needed to do. We'll need some before we leave. Then again, it's not that hard to come by in Albion either. Yeah, we'll probably just ignore this. Did we take... Oh, no, that's right. I was going to say, did we take that that prospect for seeds? But the prospect that had the picture of seeds on it was actually for munitions, so never mind. I don't need these. I guess we just want to head back to New Winchester, or... We're not that far from Lustrum and Carillon. Maybe we just head up to Lustrum and Carillon. But I think we're done here. And now we're in the air again. Let's have a quick chat with our new driver, our renewed driver. The driver hums to themselves as they steer, eyes fixed on the horizon and the promise of horizons beyond. Every risk is carefully calculated. Occasionally, they allow themselves the thrill. Oh, also, interested in a second rinse. This is a thing from the patch. Some of your officers can do other things for you than serve on the train. I'm a little reluctant to have the Repentant Devil go off and do other things, because he's our only signaler, and that would just mean a drop in stats. But since we have the Rat Brigade running the engine anyway, let's have a little chat with him first. I thought I'd miss it, the verdance, not being alone, the invulnerability. Funny, despite the feeling I almost died. I thought my fear could only be conquered by the thing inside of me, but now I see I was wrong. Oh, I know I don't have to be reckless all of the time. Their hands spin on the wheel. You grab a strap and hold on for dear life as the train careens through a field of space debris, just missing the largest chunk with a perfectly timed burst of the jets. The driver grins. But some of the time, that's another story. Okay, well, listen, I'm glad they're happier. Recently, they've been roaming the corridors of your engine, whistling and getting in the way. Is there something they want? The driver blinks. Can't keep anything from you, I see. I've been feeling a bit on edge. I'd like to make myself useful, if I can. There's races at the Royal Society. Maybe we could go there and you could drop me off for a bit. I could make us both a bit of money. He takes out a coin and flips it in the air. It comes down on heads. Just a thought, anyway. It's weird, they usually use the gender-neutral pronouns. The driver will join the Rochester Club to take part in the races and generate winnings for us. You know, that's not a bad idea, actually. I think the rats have got things under control here. Okay. We'll drop them off next time we're back there. So, we actually are further away from Lustrum and Carillon than I remembered. Turns out the reach is just very large. Also, there's some sort of horrible pounding occurring in the hallway. What I was going to say is, hey, let's head to Lustrum and Carillon, but maybe that's a little bit too long of a trip to undertake over an hour into the episode. Nope, you know what? We're going for it. So we're going to try to go around through this big open area. It means we're going to come in close contact with the horror, which obviously is not ideal, but an awful lot of exploring to do out here. And we're not going to find another port or anything. We know we've already encountered all the ports, but we might find some permanent features that are of interest to us. We also might spend the entire time flying in these very harsh winds. Oh, I suppose I should also level up my my character here. So, still kind of looking for things that'll raise our mirrors even higher. It turns out there are some mirrors checks that require a very, very high stat indeed. What is a promise of days? Let's have a look at this. Her Majesty offered the earliest pioneers to enter the heavens a grant of 30 years if they would build houses and necessities for those who would follow. Ah, you were one of the first through the doors to the sky and accepted the offer. So I was thinking that maybe we grew up out here because I did not understand the timeline prior to some of the things we read last episode. So yeah, we were eager to get up into the sky because we'd had sort of a bad run of it back in Fallen London, which must have been, again, you know, the timeline here. Fallen London was probably where we were imprisoned. So yeah, we were eager to get the hell out. That makes sense to me. So how did we spend the Queen's hours? Laying the foundations of London, digging its sewers, laying its streets? 30 short years to forge an empire from nothing? Or gallivanting? We could have just taken the offered time and fled, leaving your crimes and past behind. So, I'm not wild about either of these. I think it's more likely we do this. Because by then we would have been pretty sick of the Queen and her orders. I know that this is our low stat, but I think this is kind of fitting. We took the offered time and we bounced. Just one more thing for the Crown to be mad at us about. And I'm not sure that we're going to make it out here. I mean, we're going forward. We are also gaining terror constantly while we're in the wind. I'm not sure I want to gain all of this terror and then have to go right past a big horror. I guess the good news is that if we make it through, it'll be really easy to come back from the other side, right? So pushing hard all the way through a crew member's storyline, I guess, gives them a stat change, and it is a slight upgrade. We go from 8 total points to 10 total points, but I'm not sure if I like it better to have them all on one stat, or if I like the little bit of a split more. Man, it is really windy over here. Where's all this wind coming from? Yeah, I don't know how wind works in the real world, actually, so I don't even know if that was a stupid question. It's like pressure differentials, right? Like, there's a high pressure area and a low pressure area, and because of physics, the wind wants to move from high pressure to low pressure, I think. Oh, hey, we found another one of these things. No, no, no. No. Boy, he really wants to hit me. Why do the Tackities love running into people so much? What is wrong with you? Sometimes I wonder if we picked the wrong side. Well, we didn't side with the Tackities because of anything about the Tackities. We sided with the Tackities because of things about who they were fighting. Seems awfully quiet now. I mean, we're not that far from Lustrum. We're not 3 full crates of supplies away from Lustrum, so we can probably afford to scout around a little bit. I do appreciate the fact that when the bars go down now, they leave a little indicator of how much you lost exactly. Okay, well, there's a wonder all the way over there. Do we want to go all the way? I sort of do. Let's go see what it is. I am curious, and I think we have the supplies and fuel to be able to go down there and then still make it back up to Lustrum. Well, we have the supplies. Do I think we have that much fuel? Also, now that it looks like we're going to have to go up and then around and then back down, I'm thinking maybe that's a thing we check out some other time. May as well send the caveat once more. Yeah, this makes it a lot easier to actually, like, see what you've lost. Okay, also there's something to crave down there. And they really want us to turn south. Also, the cavi should search for things that are closer to our route. Unfortunately, there's no way to indicate that to your scout. Hey, go out there and look for stuff that's north of me right now. So also, we end up not actually going past the horror. I suppose that's a good thing. It's actually remarkably hard to get out to the area where that is. Yeah, you'd have to stay all the way around the rim of the map. So we're going to swing by Lustrum and see what's up with our claim. We're going to end up taking some hours on board and then having a lot of the bad times that you have when you have hours on board. They do sell fuel and supplies here, so we'll be able to load up, and then we'll head to Carillon, where all of our remaining crew member plots lead. I don't remember what was it that the princess wanted? Oh no, she wanted to go to Carillon too, right? Yep. And also Eleutheria with an extra unlicensed chart, which we have some idea how to get now. Not much sense in sending out the scout at this time, I guess, because we're just headed straight to Lustrum no matter what. You know, I actually don't know whether sending the scout out can cause new objects to spawn in the world for you to interact with, or if it can only locate things that the game has already spawned for you. Because it might be the case that it actually is worth sending him out, because he might create a thing for us to interact with. Gonna be running around with a hold full of hours anyway, you know, may as well pick these up. Boy, I don't like the infinite down out here. This makes me very nervous in ways that I can't quite put into words. Hold on a moment. Well, that's just more free hours there. We are going to end up with a hold completely filled with hours. And then on our way back out of here, we swing by Magdalene's, buy souls, drop them off at Port Prosper, to complete the prospect that we've had in our inventory forever. We probably will be able to buy that 6,000 sovereign locomotive when we get back to London. I think things are looking up for us. Not that they were particularly bad before. Alright, this guy keeps showing up everywhere. Maybe we should just take him on board. It doesn't really help us not to take him on board. That's right, I was not down with hiring him before because 100 sovereigns was a serious imposition. But you know what? Welcome aboard. The Fortunate Navigator. You won't regret this, Captain. The Navigator pumps your hand. He's an Imperial, a people descended from ancient Mongolians and led by the Eagle Khan, whose technology opened the door to the skies. A passing Skyfarer tussles the Navigator's hair. For luck, the woman says with a grin. The Navigator rolls his eyes. She's from my last crew. They thought I brought them luck. I didn't, but I'm still a good hire. So what role is he in? He's a first officer, which we certainly have no shortage of. Alright, let's write a port report. Let's visit the tea shop, because one of these teas we hadn't actually tested, right? Although at this point, I don't remember which one. I bet it was the Empress's favorite, because that's the one I'd be least interested in. Familiar, comfortable, with just a hint of lingering bitterness. A true Londoner's blend. Okay, now let's speak to her. I'm just curious if having tried all of the teas gives us any extra options here. Nope. Alright, well, apparently we can only find out about this other thing she's working on somewhere else, and then come back to her with the knowledge. Okay, let's return to town. So it doesn't make much sense for us to visit the Windward Company. Interesting, we haven't actually totally won Lustrum for the Tacades. I wonder how we would do that. The Singing Caves seem like still a thing that we're not really ready for. Let's set out to our own claim here and collect our haul. I assume we're going to have a few barrels of ours available. Okay, so we learned something here, and the thing that we learned is that it doesn't matter how long we're gone, it's always going to be 2 barrels of ours as long as we wait long enough for it to be any at all. That is a little disappointing. Uh-oh, your foreman has bad news. Your claim has run dry. It's time to call it a day. Crew gathers your final haul of hours and awaits further instructions. Their frostbitten fingers twitch for the warmth of the train. Okay, well, let's retrieve as many people as we can, I suppose. No reason not to take them aboard, since it looks like we're done here. But we did get an awful lot of hours from that. So, okay, it doesn't actually tell us how many we have left. I think I had put 5 on it. I think there's just one person left here. Well, figure in the corner. Ooh, this right here. This is the sort of thing we're into. The Windward Company's factory poisons the air. Worse, their miners take all the best claims. At the back of the Hanged Man, schemes are in motion. The prospectors still see you as a newcomer, but you've proven your mining chops. The numbers are too few to reject you. They let you into their war room at the back of the Hanged Man. Something, they say, must be done. When asked what, they frown. Something big, they declare. It appears that is as far as their resentment has got them. Well, we could attempt diplomatic action. Companies are made up of people. They must listen to reason. But that is probably not a thing that our character is naive enough to believe. Time for action and a very large explosion. I can even build the device. I am a little handy. The back room of the pub is silent while you work. It isn't long before you've assembled the bomb. All that remains is to slip it into one of the barrels headed for the Windward Company's mighty furnace. When it comes, the explosion is glorious. A slow-motion flowering of flame that lasts much of a day. Nobody is hurt. Even the closest have plenty of time to evacuate. The damage to the inside of the factory, however, is nigh incalculable. This facility will not be processing any more hours for the foreseeable future. So, we've done some good work here. We got ourselves another 3 barrels of hours, which means we're actually over our hold limit. And now that that's happened, can't remember, what did the figure in the corner do? We talked to Mr. Penny's before. Oh, we should definitely give him a barrel of hours before we leave. Valuables for sale. Ah, that's right. Exchange for buried time. So, did we talk to Mr. Penny's? I feel like we did, right? Yeah, we definitely did. Okay, so do I want an otherworldly artifact? Or do we just want money? I kind of just want money. I guess let's see how much money we get. Because we could trade the otherworldly artifact for 70 sovereigns. Now, there's no way he's going to give us more than that. Let's do this. You provide a fragment of hours for sale, a few seconds at most. Penny snatches them up with the blackened and leathery appendage that reaches out of its shroud. Mr. Penny shakes as it sniffs at the little cigar box and the sprinkling of calcified time within. Yes, it whines. Will do. Will suffice. Okay. Here's the thing. We probably need to exchange more hours here because we need room for more fuel and supplies. What does he give us? Wow. 6 sovereigns. Okay, so we're not doing that anymore. Yeah, we'll just buy a crate of... I don't really need to buy a round of drinks for the miners. They trust us enough to hang out with us and help us blow stuff up. Let's stop in at Sweet Jane's, right? We don't want to turn in nameplates right now. This seems like a horrible deal. So we want to save up for this. Yep, and I have 7. I was kind of hoping she might have something nice to say about the fact that we blew up the Windward Company, but apparently that's not how it works. Yep, and we have no munitions for you. You are selling tea, which we cannot afford to take on. Grab a barrel of fuel, and I guess we will just head for, Carillon. But that is a real next episode sort of thing. So, that is all we have time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time when we walk amongst devils one more, and hopefully nobody feels the need to pound anything in the hallway very loudly. And we'll see you then.